Okay, hi everyone. Good evening. Good morning to people joining in. Welcome to the session. We're also live on YouTube, so in case you're joining us from there, just leave us a hi on the live chat. If you're joining us on Zoom, quickly give us a hi here, introduce yourself on the chat. My name is Aparna, and I'm going to be your host for today. And I'm streaming from Bangalore. Sorry, spelling error. So hi Mohan, hi Nikhil, Gabriel, hi, Swati. Yeah, just leave your city as well. Where are you from? Let us know. Hi Amanda. Okay. Okay. Your name and your city, please. It's just easier for us to address you. And people watching us on YouTube, you could also introduce yourself here on the chat. Hi Mohan, hi Peter, hi Nikhil. Good to see you guys. Hi Sylvia. Hi Turkey, Shashikant. Good to have you guys. Kelvin. Hi Amanda. Okay, Kisha from Boston. Nice to have you, Naresh. Sandra, hi. Yeah, Sahib, hi. Good evening. Hetvi, Astha. Great, great. So you all know why we're gathered here. I'm sure you know or have heard about these certifications, the CISSP, the CISA certification, the CompTIA certification. So we're here to discuss, help you understand and take a decision on which certification may be a best fit for you. Okay. And we're going to get started very soon, but I'm just waiting for more people to join here and leave your introductions. Sakshi, hi. Veronica, hi. Daniel, hi. Okay, great. Are you here for the first time? Also, quickly give me a yes or a no. Are you here for a webinar with Simplilearn for the first time? Yes. Okay, Michael, no. If you're here for the first time for a webinar with Simplilearn, just let us know. A quick yes on the chat. Okay. Oh, a lot of you are first timers then. Okay. Great to have you here and hope you are able to take away something insightful and actionable out of this session. Yes. And towards the end, we are also going to highlight about each of these certifications and particularly about the CISSP certification in detail and also help you understand the enrollment steps for our training program for the cohort starting 8th of April. Yeah. So we'll get to talking about the certification training in a while. Yeah. But before that, because all of you are first timers, let me quickly introduce Simplilearn to you. I'm sure you've heard of us, you've seen our emails, registered for this webinar, and you're here for the first time. So just a quick introduction on what we do, right? So we offer skills in various domains, all of these domains that you see, including cybersecurity, cloud computing, AI and ML, data science, generative AI, all of these domains. And we've got certifications and career-aligned learning paths in various domains. Yeah. So today in particular, you know what we're talking about. We're talking about certifications in cybersecurity. And in our journey, we started in 2009. So in our journey so far, we've touched more than 8 million careers worldwide, right? So we've got learners in more than 150 countries. We've got a lot of global accreditations. And also we've partnered with leading industry leaders and also institutions across the world, right? So some of our partners are Purdue University, Caltech, also Imperial College. We partnered with industry leaders such as PMI, PeopleCert, IBM, right? So we've got a lot of partners onboarded for these courses that we offer, right? So you can head to simplilearn.com and find out more about whatever courses you want to check out. But of course, we'll talk about certifications today. Yes? Yes. Okay, great. Now, coming next is just a quick ground rules. If you guys have questions, please make sure you use the Q&A box. Okay. Now, in case you might be interested in interacting with the speaker on the chat box, yes, great. But we might miss out on your question if you put it on the chat box. Just use the Q&A box and let us know whatever you would want to be, want to get answered, and we'll do that towards the end of the session. Yeah. So what I'm going to do right away is keep the questions public so that anyone can see anyone's questions. You can also help other learners get their questions answered. In case you're more experienced, you seem to know the answer, you can do that. You're more than welcome to do that. Okay. But if you already see a question posted on the same, which is the same as yours, please wait. We'll make sure it's addressed. We may not be able to address your name individually, and we may not follow a certain order in answering questions, right? But don't worry, all your questions will be answered by the end of the session. Okay, and the session is being recorded. So in case you feel like you missed something, you would want to revisit something, you will receive the link to the recording in a follow-up email tomorrow. Yeah, in the next 24 hours, you will receive an email containing the recording link and a certificate of attendance for attending this webinar. Now, how do you get the webinar certificate? We'll talk about this towards the fag end of the session. The last portion of the session is collecting your names for the webinar certificate. Okay, but that happens towards the end. So make sure you hang on till the end to give your names and also give your submissions for the webinar certificate. So the email containing your certificate and the recording comes tomorrow. If you do have questions, please use the Q&A box. And this session is also being streamed on YouTube. So in case you want to revisit the session right away, also is possible. Okay, right. Yes. Okay. All right. Great. So now that we're all set and you've understood the ground rules, I've introduced Simplilearn to you, it makes sense for us to introduce our expert for today, William, but he likes to be called as Bill. Bill, hi, welcome firstly. Thanks for accepting our invite. Bill actually has got more than 22 years of experience in information security, risk management. So he actually specializes and is in fact certified in some of these certifications that we're going to discuss today. So he is a curriculum developer for some of programs that we have at Simplilearn, and he's also an adjunct professor at Fox School of Business, right? So Bill, thank you so much for joining us today. You can also introduce yourself to the learners and then we get started.
Yep. Oh, excuse me. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here. People say, well, what made you get into information security? And we just thought technology was fun. And then it's along the way, we realized we needed to secure the technology. And I've been an adjunct professor at multiple institutions, and APMG certified trainer for the ISACA certifications, get involved with the communities a lot, and presented at conferences, whether it's financial services or healthcare or retail. It's been a great ride. And of course, certification wise, I know myself going back, 15 years, I guess, roughly, I knew certifications were sort of the key to change my role. And they're definitely part of the mix.
Understood. Great. Thanks for your introduction, Bill. Let's just proceed and understand a bit more about our audience today. So I'm just going to launch a quick poll for us to understand whether they're total beginners or whether they have some knowledge about the certifications or they already are certified, of the courses that we're going to be talking about. So a quick poll that I'm launching on Zoom. If you're watching us on YouTube, please select 1, 2, or 3, whichever is the most appropriate. Please send in your responses on the live chat. Yeah. If you're watching us on Zoom, just select the right answer and always use the poll. There are going to be a bunch of polls today that we'll be launching to ask you questions. Yeah. Yes. Bill, are you able to see the responses?
I don't get to see the the results until
Not,
afterwards.
oh yeah, right, right.
You have to share the results with everyone, and then I get to see them.
Yeah,
It's
right.
Zoom, you know. It's funny because I've used Zoom, I've used GoToWebinar, I've used Big Marker, I've used I forget some of the other solutions over the years. So many online training solutions. It's like they all have their little quirks of what they do.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah. So I should be ending the poll next 10 seconds. So in case anyone else is interested, quickly answer the question here. And okay, let me close the poll. Bill, you should be able to let me share the results. Yeah, I think
Okay.
everyone should be able to see the results now. Okay.
Hey,
How-
those people who said, those people who say you already possess one or more of those certifications, you can send a message and you can say it to everyone, or you can send it to hosts and panelists. Uh, I'm just curious, which certifications do you have?
Yeah, yeah. Are those ones that we're going to discuss today? Whatever certifications you possess, just let us know on the chat. Yes, yes. Okay, okay. All right. All right. I think we'll just get started right here. And I think first things first, we want to, yeah, we've got responses coming in, CISA, SC 900. Okay, cybersecurity. Nice, nice. All right. All right. All right. So first things first, Bill, what do you think, or why do you think certifications are really important? Why do they matter in the context of pursuing a career in cybersecurity?
Well, it's when you have a certification, I saw this as a job seeker, and I also saw this as a professional. As a professional, I had an appreciation when I was dealing with vendor support, and that vendor support was working for an anti-malware vendor, and all of a sudden they got the Security Plus, and actually you could kind of notice it in the way they talked. They started using the right terms, and so I, as a customer, could appreciate when my vendors had their people start to get certification.
Mm.
That now, of course, me professionally, you have a choice, and they say, well, you could get a college degree, or you can get certifications, or well, you can actually get both.
Mm.
And that's like I found that I had obtained a college degree, and while that had opened up some doors, there was still what else do you do, and
Yeah.
how do you differentiate yourself? And so it's funny because I had done certifications back actually in the 90s, and
Mhm.
the MCSE and the Certified Novell Engineer. And yes, at that time, yes, that was, oh, you have a CNE, great. And, so it helped me get that one role that I needed. And the MCAC was quite good for some time as well. Some of them, they like with the CNE, obviously, that's gone by the wayside. And the MCSE, well, it's not what it used to be. And Oh, okay. So yeah, we got someone here that's got a lot of certifications here.
Yeah. Yeah, I just saw
That's
that. Daniel.
awesome. Yeah. Yeah, and I think I had a CCNA for a while. I actually let mine lapse because they make you take the test. I think it was every 2, maybe it was every 3 years, but literally you have to take their test every 2 or 3 years. And it was very technology specific. And if you're not hands-on with Cisco devices every single day, it's hard to justify maintaining some certifications. And the certifications definitely demonstrate the expertise and credibility. And like when I was teaching Cisco classes, yes, I got my Cisco certification so I could teach the classes. And there for a time, I was doing some network support. So I had Cisco certifications at that time. And it did open doors to higher paying roles. Now, what I've been finding, of course, is, in like the Security Plus and the CISA and the CISSP, they're more of an evergreen kind of certification
Mm.
that, you get the certification, it demonstrates a level of experience, and then you have to continue it with continuing education.
Yeah.
And so people know that. It's not like, oh, you have an MCSE, and like I could have been an MCSE from 1997
Mm.
and not taken a single course.
Mm.
Well, that's great. You know, MCSE from NT4. We're not on NT4 anymore. And so if you get one of these certifications that, you know, the ones that we're primarily talking about, these, you know, the CISSP, the CISA, and the Security Plus, you're staying up to date. You have to stay up to date. You know,
Right.
and actually, someone in the room here already mentioned the whatchamacallit, uh, the CEH. I think I saw someone mention EC Council.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, I obtained my CEH. The CEH is that also now is sort of an evergreen kind of cert with the because they have the continuing education requirement with theirs, so they're forcing you to stay up to date with the CEH. You know, earlier they weren't, and they had some. They actually just went through a whole big upgrade process with the CEHs to get everybody up to version 13.
Mm.
Um, yeah, and some roles do require certifications. You know, right now I know one of the roles I have, it's I'm checking the boxes, and I checked a lot of boxes, and every time I checked a box, they were like, "Oh, we have to pay more. Oh, we have to pay you more. Oh, we have to pay you more. Oh, we have to pay you more." So it's you know, sometimes yeah, I'm not going to argue with that. It's the
Mm. Mm.
and people say, "Why do you continue to even like when I have to pay the renewals?"
Mhm.
Well, why not? Because I'm getting it back in my salary
Mm.
usually.
Mm.
So even if
Mm.
I have to pay for certificate renewals out of my own pocket, it's usually worth it.
Yeah, yeah. So it's not just we can't look at it as a unidirectional way where we're just paying money to get the certificate, but you're also saying that it kind of pays you back in your career, along with the other benefits, of course, like you mentioned, that when you talk to vendors, people know that you're aware of these terminologies or jargons. You just speak the language, right? So it just validates your expertise, right? Right. Got it. Got it. So let's probably dive deep into each of these certifications that we want to discuss. The CISSP first, followed by CISA, and then CompTIA. So what is exactly the CISSP certification all about?
So the CISSP, Certified Information System Security Professional, these are the folks who are creating a security program, leading a security program. It is a managerial level certification. So it's focusing on security leadership, the architecture, and risk management. It's you know, ISC2. They recently rebranded. They used to be ISC squared. Now they're ISC2. But it's the same organization, same people. They What's great about this one, it really does. You have to have a certain number of years of experience in order to become CISSP certified. I think I saw someone in here mention that they were a consortium candidate. Um, there is the ISC2. There is the associate of ISC2, and that's an interesting wrinkle there because if you don't have the 5 years of experience, you
Mhm.
can pass the exam,
Hmm.
and then you're an associate until
Yeah.
you get your 5 years. And I have found a lot of consulting companies love that. And sometimes, and I liked it too as a customer of some of these consulting companies
Mm.
because when I was in that role, okay, you're going to put someone on on this contract, on this engagement, on this project. They're going to be they pass the exam, they know the facts, they just don't have 5 years of experience. So they're usually, you know, they're not going to earn the same rate as a CISSP, but they're going to have the knowledge. And as someone who's hiring a consulting firm from time to time, because I'm not allowed to do certain things, I need that independent person. And so, yeah, I will look at someone with an associate of ISC2 and say, yeah, that actually, okay, that's great. I know they're going to be able to do their job. You know, they're going to be able to fulfill the needs of our project.
Mm. Mm. Got it. Got it. So,
The
yeah, this is also a point that I wanted to mention, that someone does not really need to fulfill this right away in order to take the exam? Is that what you mentioned? Take the exam itself, right? So they can attend. Yeah, they can do that.
Yeah, so yeah, it's requires 5 years of experience on in 2 of the 8 domains.
Right.
Or there is a waiver. If you have a college degree, there's a waiver. And I think if you have other certifications, there's a
Yeah.
waiver. You always
Yes.
have to double check at the time because that list is subject to change.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think I don't know if the MCSE is still on it.
Hmm. Got it.
Um,
I think we do cover the eligibility criteria towards the end, but yeah, maybe you could cover the domains first about what CISSP focuses on.
Sure. So the CISSP is designed to be well-rounded for those risk management, the leaders of a security program. So it starts with the security and risk management, which is all the governance and the compliance factors that have to be baked into everything else. And then with it, looking at each of these domains, the CISSP does require you that you have to pass all of these domains at a
Hmm.
passing level. So, you have to pass every single asset security, security architecture, communication and network security, identity and access management, security assessment and testing, the security operations, and the software development security. You have to know enough to pass all of those domains in order to become CISSP. So they do set a high bar, but these are all of the things. And like some of the other certifications, like CEH is very specific into ethical hacking and penetration testing.
Hmm.
And you can say, well, that would be security assessment and testing. We see it right there, penetration testing.
Hmm.
And, there's a little bit of risk management in the certified ethical hacker. Where the CISSP goes, no, no, okay, no, this is not just penetration testing.
Yeah.
We're going to expand that, and we're looking at all of these different items here. So it really does encompass the entire information security program.
Hmm.
That that's what the CISSP is gearing you to. You are leading a program. You are running that program. You
Hmm.
are, standing up the program from scratch. If you are CISSP, you have the skills necessary to stand up these programs.
Got it. Got it. So going back to the work experience eligibility criteria that you mentioned, so someone needs to have work ex in any of the two domains, or is there a mandate on certain domains that someone needs to be working in?
Any two.
Any two, any two. Okay,
Yep.
got it. All right, all right. So yeah, let's next talk about the CISA, which is offered in partnership with ISACA. You could maybe take them through what the certification is all about.
Absolutely. Yeah, and ISACA certified myself. I know ISC2. I did the CISSP, and I did the healthcare cert before they retired it.
Mm,
And the ISACA, they have several certifications. The CISA is the one that is usually the point of entry for folks.
yeah.
ISACA also has a CISM, which is very similar to the CISSP.
Mhm.
Uh, so the ISACA certifications, ISACA is an organization you join. You usually join your local chapter, and then you take the exam. Uh, it's uh, it's focused on auditing, and sometimes I joke that and I say this publicly, I became an auditor because I wanted my auditor to go away. And then I found out I got an appreciation of why auditing happens, why auditing occurs. And so it did lead me to be a better just defender of systems.
Right.
Uh, realized that going into it. Uh, and But it's focused on the evaluation of systems, and it's the CISAs audit what the CISSPs do.
I see. Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so
And
is it in
we
any
also
way?
put we could also pit the CISAs and the CISMs because the CISM is like the CISSP,
Uh-huh.
CIS and ISAC certification, similar to the CISSP.
Mm,
And so you can't audit what you build. That's one of the key elements of independence, and it's all about finding is it the best value solution for the auditee, You know, and is it consistent? Does it function? And it's less technical than the CEH because it's more looking at, like for the one of the domains is on the system development lifecycle. When you're bringing a solution in, did you evaluate the vendors?
Mm.
Did you ask them? And yeah, there are 5 domains, and it's really they talk how to conduct an audit, how to conduct risk assessments. They talk about the CISA talks about policies,
Mm.
alignment with the business strategy.
Mm.
Really, it really drives home the fact that anything that technology or information security, it should be supporting the business, and is it doing so in an appropriate way?
Got
So
it.
yeah,
Mm.
so the 5 domains, and just like the CISSP, you have to pass all 5 domains.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Got it. Uh, so just a random thought. When you said, it's not as technical as CEH, does that mean someone who does not know or does not have any idea about coding or hasn't been in the tech world, does that mean CISA is their route to it? Is this assumption correct? Or, am I jumping to conclusions here?
That's okay. No, I realized I said, technical and then coding. And what's
Mhm.
great in both the CISSP and the CISA, in the CISP, it's domain 8. In the CISA, it's domain 3. That you do not have to code. They ask you to understand the system development methodologies at a high level. Uh, and like I was recently was talking with someone, and they were talking bad about Agile, and they were, well, they want us to test over and over and over. And I said, no, the point of Agile is that you're working with a system in small incremental feature sets, so you can find out how it works. Oh, now it was an interesting. This was someone who was not a developer at all, not a project manager, and of course, I wear a few hats. I've worn the project manager hat as
Mm.
well,
Mm.
and so I was, and they were like, oh, so both of these certifications, you're not coding anything, but you understand the cycle that the development cycle goes through. So
Yeah.
you can ask questions like, as an auditor, did you have the proper checks and balances? Did you
Mm.
evaluate multiple vendors? Did you think
Yeah.
about the alternatives? With the CISSP, when you're bringing on a development team, it's helping you appreciate what the developers are going to do.
Right.
I like to think that way. I'm not developing, and that's one of the areas you heard me say, like, for instance, I'm going to hire a consulting company. I'm going to hire a contracting company. Sometimes it's because of independence, even if I can do it, I'm not allowed. Or you're not going to see me code an
Yeah.
application
Yeah. Yeah.
because you can't do everything. So it's like, yes, I'm going to bring in someone to code the application, and yes, as like a security officer or security program manager, whatever title you have, you need to be able to vet the developers and understand what they're doing at a very basic, not hands on keyboard, but the kind of things they should be giving you. In the case of the CISA, it's did they follow an appropriate process?
Got it. Got it. Got it. So your point is that even though you don't actually code, but you do, or probably you should know as an auditor as to what goes behind, just so that you can do your job better as a CISA, right? That's what you said.
Yep.
Cool. Understood. Understood. I think that would be a question that a lot of learners would have, because we've got one question that says, so what if I'm wanting to switch from a software development sort of a role to cybersecurity? Which certificate or certification he means would be the best, right? So I'm not sure. Do we have an answer there, or is there really one certification that someone transitioning from a tech role to pursue?
Well, I'm kind of going to infer there that if you're currently working in technology, uh, you may not necessarily want to go back to a service desk kind of role. So I don't know if I would recommend a Security Plus necessarily. It would depend, and you would have to ask yourself how much security expertise you had.
Mm.
You probably then you can ask yourself, do I want to evaluate systems or do I want to create systems? And if you say I just want to look at systems, then the CISA is the route for you. I want to
Mm.
audit systems. The CISA is your route. If you want to be, creating that system, the CISSP would probably be your better solution. Uh,
Mm.
every so often, we will find people who will take the Security Plus as a step, which I did. I knew that I wanted the Security Plus certification. And well, I knew I wanted the CISSP, but I also knew the CISSP was a very tall mountain for me to climb. And so at the
Mm.
time, I looked at the Security Plus and I said, "Wow, I can get the Security Plus done that much faster, and it'll give me a little bit of credibility on my way to CISSP."
Mm.
Uh, so the yeah, yeah, so the question we got as far as the software development to cybersecurity,
Yeah.
um, you could go with the CEH if you wanted to just be that penetration tester. You like to break things. It's always fun to break things. Actually, I gave talks and presentations at B-Sides conferences about getting permission to break things. It was fun. Uh, if you're looking to, as we, think about the roles long term, the CISA and the CISSP tend to have a longer path, I should say, or you can get to higher levels.
Mm.
And the next, what is it? Oh, in the chat box, is the Security Plus an entry level cert? Well, it's kind of tricky because you don't need to have any experience on the job
Mm.
to take the Security Plus.
Correct.
Um, it used to be the A plus. Is A plus is CompTIA's entry level cert. Although at this point, most people know how to use a computer. And then how many of us are actually want to install, work on desktop, laptop computers all day long?
Yeah.
Um, and so it's so they over time CompTIA introduced the Network Plus and the Security Plus as vendor agnostic certifications, and they're the best for the entry level cybersecurity professionals. And Security Plus, I put that in that tier as something that because you don't need the 5 years of experience.
Mm. Mm.
And so I wouldn't, the as far as CompTIA's lineup of certifications, CompTIA would tell you that the A plus is their entry level certification. As far as cybersecurity, it is their entry cybersecurity certification. CompTIA actually there's a CASP and there's a CISA, CYSA certification that every so often I see pop up on some of the job matrices. Um, yeah, of course, I have the CISSP, the CISA, and the CEH, so I haven't really had a reason to pursue their newer certs
Mm.
because when you look at the job roles, it's like, yep, I've already checked that box. I don't need to do any more
Okay.
because you don't often get extra credit for checking multiple certs within the box. Once you
Right.
fill the box, you're good.
Got it. Understood. So just in case, just because you mentioned the CYSA, I'm just sending the certificate, I mean the link about the certificate here for anyone who wants to refer. Anyway, so we'll just probably understand the different domains of CompTIA Security Plus as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so the Security Plus covers the domains from, the governance, risk, and compliance is only 14% of their exam. They introduce it. It's one of those areas where, on the CISSP, it's the governance, risk, and compliance is a higher portion of that. Of course, that also indicates where this is targeted. This is targeted towards people who are oftentimes the service desk, the SOC or Security Operations Center.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, they're not setting policies. They just need to follow the policies.
Right.
Um, they and where it compares to the CompTIA, it's CEH. So I'm kind of reading this question here that we got in the Q&A box because it kind of makes
Yeah.
sense here.
Mhm.
Um, if you're an entry level professional, if you're saying I'm truly entry level, I would say go ahead. You could take the Security Plus, get a certification, and getting that CEH. The CEH is more specific in nature, and that is a path that I see some folks take because they'll get into the offensive security, and they want to hone in on that. kind of area. So yeah, like the Security Plus is a great launch pad into CISSP or CISA or CEH.
Got it.
And then, so CEH is going to be very specific on the ethical breaking into systems. And you're doing it to help an organization. So that you are under a non-disclosure agreement, whereas the malicious actors of the world are not under any NDA whatsoever. So,
Right.
yeah, I mean, the Security Plus is a great certification. It's a great entry level, cybersecurity entry level certification. It is recognized by so many employers out there.
Mhm. Understood. I think we'll also talk about the demand of these certifications. Since you mentioned employers, we'll talk about that in a bit. But let's just maybe, Bill, you could summarize the key differences of these certifications. So you did mention that CISSP and CISA are for slightly experienced folks, whereas for an entry-level person, someone wouldn't need an experience, whether it's a CEH or a CompTIA Plus, right? So what about the difficulty level? What kind of job roles would they be choosing or taking up if they are certified here? Could you just highlight that?
But yeah, the CISSP is for your security leaders, your security officers, your security manager, whatever the title they give you. Organizations come up with different titles, but you're leading a program, you're managing a program, and it's information security, very wide genre. Uh, with the CISA, uh, you're the auditor. You are the compliance professional. You are looking at systems and reviewing artifacts from systems. And so that's for, like I mentioned, CEH, you get your hands dirty. You get in and you start breaking things. And you do need coding experience for some of that. Like there's a degree that you could do without coding experience. Then, as you become more advanced, you find that you're going to want to do some coding. Whereas the CISA, there's no coding involved as a CISA. You would typically, you're not, the CISA doesn't run the penetration test. The CISA looks at the penetration test. The CISA would ask if the penetration test had been done, and then make a recommendation based whether or not the whether that assessment had been done or not. So we see auditing. It's just as a name, it is for your auditing professional. There's a little bit the waivers are a little bit more lenient for the required experience on the CISA, because I was looking at this last week for someone. It looks like if you have a bachelor's degree, you get a year. If you have a master's degree, you get 2 years, and you might actually get 3 years if it's a master in cybersecurity. I'd have to go back and double check that, but it looks like ISACA has changed some of the waivers to
Mhm.
make it a little bit more lenient.
Mhm.
No, and yeah, none of these certifications are free. I see, are these certifications free? No.
The
The
certifications are not free. Yeah, I just answered that. They're not
Yeah,
free.
they're not. And someone had said they had the Google Cybersecurity Introduction Cert, and I
Yeah.
think ISC2 has this one, Certified Cybersecurity Professional. Those they they say it's free, and then I think with ISC2 they want $50 a year to renew it. Um, the these exams, I think CompTIA might be a little bit cheaper. Like
Mhm.
just gonna like rough numbers here. It might be say 500 for the CompTIA Security Plus at this point, U.S. dollars. The CISA it might be $600. Again, I'd always have to go out to ISACA to look. The CISSP, I know because I saw a whole lot of this last year. It was $699 US for people to take that exam. So yeah, the cost of the exam goes up. Now of course, why do people do it? And someone earlier in chat had made a comment, I think it
Mhm.
was, that they have a master's degree in cybersecurity. The curriculum is based on the CISSP body of knowledge. Would this be a reasonable swap? So when you're doing a college degree, they have a defined curriculum because the curriculum has to go in front of a governing board, it has to be accredited. Uh, and I've taught cybersecurity classes using the CISSP body of knowledge. Now, we don't just use that book when we do it. We also build other things around it. But it's when we're thinking of a book, the CISSP books tend to be the best overall book for us. And sometimes we'll use that book because we're also encouraging you to also go get your certification. We're sending you a hidden message. Yes, we're going to take this book. We'll do all sorts of things around this book because it's a college program. But at the end, we also encourage you to go take the exam too. And whenever I've used that book, that's one of the reasons we use that book is because it covers most of what we want to cover. The other resources we can pull from the internet. But at the end, we also, as someone who's been through that as myself personally, yes, I found that I had a master's degree and I still needed to get certifications to make a difference. So as far as, is it a swap? I think it depends, when you say if you have a master's degree, how long ago was it? I guess would be one of my other questions, and how far in depth did they go within that book? Because I've also seen some college courses where it's for the well, I hate to say ethical hacking because it's not blatantly called ethical hacking, but it'll be it basically they'll send you to a lab environment and the labs are all step by step. So even though the book is an ethical hacking book, the lab is step by step, and people don't go through the labs multiple times, and it's basically just follow a script and write a report, and that's what that program had. So that's where when you take the certification exams, they're going to go deeper. They're going to ask you to apply things that are in that textbook.
Got it. Payal, we're going to wrap the session in another half an hour to 40 minutes. So let's just proceed and understand how these certifications are going to impact someone's career. You did mention these job roles, but if you could take them through the career progression pathway as well. So how can they grow after these certifications?
Yeah. So, I'll start on the right-hand side because the CompTIA, they're your entry-level certifications. I say entry-level. You know how to use a computer. A lot of times people know how to use computers, but an understanding of security, the things we look at in security. And so the SOC analyst, the cybersecurity specialist, and really what you're doing is sort of preparing yourself for the CISA or the CISSP if you're looking to climb that ladder over time. The CompTIA, you get a lot of mileage out of it. And everything you learn in there totally applies to the other certifications. So you can start with the CompTIA Security Plus certification, and as you get your experience, you can move on to the CISA or the CISSP or others. And the CISA, that can be a path to CISO. And I know a CISO. I'm going to attend a conference next month, and she's the keynote speaker at that conference. And actually, she was in my CISA class going back about 10 years. I was like, yes, I know you. You were in my class, and yep, and she's a CISO of an organization. She got herself a promotion to risk manager after a few years, and then a couple years after that, she was CISO. So just that certification alone, she actually did not get a CISSP. She is just a CISA. She's maintained her CISA the whole time, and that meets the requirements, and that's one of the things that regulators do look. Financial services and healthcare, I've had them in both cases. They'll come in and they'll say, "What are your qualifications?" And it'll be here's the OCC or the FFIEC or the NCUA. They'll come in, show me the resumes and show me all the qualifications of your people, and you at least have to have something to make them happy. Now the CISSP, that's a lot of times people may start with the CISA and they may move on and get the CISSP. The CISSP has a little bit more of a technical angle to it. So sometimes the chief technology officer will have that kind of certification.
Yeah.
We mentioned the certified ethical hacker and just where the certified ethical hacker fits in. It's sort of it is you take your Security Plus and you say, I really want to become specialized in ethical hacking, penetration testing, then you would go with that angle.
Right.
Sometimes we see folks who will take the CISA and they decide that they want to be more hands-on, and that's where the ethical hackers are. They're hands-on uh, in what they do.
Right.
Um,
Right. So you're
so
saying that someone who let's say want to pursue a CEH after they've decided, um, or maybe after they've decided to pursue a CISA or a CompTIA, they can still do that. That's what you're saying?
you, oh
Hmm.
yeah, I got my CISSP, and then afterwards decided I wanted to get the certified ethical hacker.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, that's exciting, that's interesting, and yes, it also does it qualified me for CPE credits. When I take an additional EC Council exam,
Hmm.
I was surprised I forget if it was 20 or 40 credits they gave me in the 1 year.
Wow.
So, oh, you passed an exam? Here, have some credits. Like actually, and that's not uncommon. Someone in the chat mentioned the CIDIPSI, and I have to remember because I finally did my CIDIPSI validation for experience, and yeah, I'm eligible for like 20 to 40 credits towards these certifications, and
Mm.
usually you're satisfying across all of them at one time.
Right. Got it. Um, yeah, I think let's proceed. We've definitely got more questions on the chat and on the Q&A box. We'll just come back to that. Would you like to take them through the salary breakdown? Although I know this is not exactly, written in stone, this can change from company to company, from role to role. If you could just highlight in summary as to what salaries one can expect.
Yep. Oh yeah. So yeah, the salaries are always subject to change. And I spoke to someone last week and they told me that the CISO role, I have seen CISO or CISO equivalent roles, and I think they actually used the title CISO, and they only wanted to offer $140,000, and you had to be on site all 5 days a week. And I said, no, thank you, but no, thank you. And I'm like, basically, yeah, I'm making a higher salary at this point, and I've seen CISO salaries, yeah, 160, and they basically go from there. And
Mm.
and actually, yeah, I quoted that number back to him. I said, okay, this may be a small institution, but this is where you need to be based
Mhm.
on what you're asking this person to do.
Mhm.
Whoever, I'm like, well, this person, right? It's not me, but yes. So the when you're a senior, like senior consultant, or the senior security engineer, or the senior security architect, or the chief information security officer, really, you're looking at 160 and higher at that point. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, definitely the 100,000 is a good bench. That's sort of a good baseline.
Right.
Um, because you have 5 years of experience. And so these numbers take into consideration the fact that if I have a CompTIA Security
Mm.
Plus and I'm starting down at that, 60, 65 range,
Mhm.
right? Uh, you know what? By the time I get 5 years of experience, I expect to be at 100,000 because of increases every year and increasing responsibility. So that the entry level, right? It goes from 65 to 85 to 100K. And if you stay with just the Security Plus, you know, it's the senior level, right? You almost can see the diagonal there. And that's right. It's like, yeah, by the time I get to 5 years, I'm senior level with the Security Plus. That's sort of like I just got my CISSP. And so yeah, that's exactly your map there. Um, with auditors, yeah, that you start at a little bit higher range because they're asking for a little bit more experience, right? If you have the CISA designation, that means you've got a few years of experience, and as you get experience, your salary is going to increase
Mhm.
as you go. And some folks will, they'll take some of these roles, they'll do consulting engagements, and they can they can shift some of these
Higher.
numbers
Yeah.
higher.
Right. So do these also depend? I know that, we've mentioned 65K here, 85K as the baseline, but does this also change, let's say, because CISA and CSSP require WorkX? So someone, let's say, who's worked 5 years would be earning, a certain range that's probably higher than what we see here. So does that also depend on, I mean, typically what happens in an interview, right? So what you draw last would define what you would draw in the future. So does that also work for these roles, or how's that?
That is an interesting, well, it's an interesting job search issue because everybody likes to, well, how much are you making at your current job? Because that's all I want to pay you now.
Yeah.
Um, and now I think, and every so often we do, and there's what is it? What's that saying? There's the pink elephant in the room. Um, the pink elephant in the room. Let's say you are the senior cybersecurity developer. I'm sorry, you're the
Hmm.
senior developer, right?
Yeah.
If someone
Yeah.
mentioned their developer, and let's just say you're a senior developer.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to take a step down,
Ah.
pivot.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but sometimes that's worth it because you're like, you know what? I'm going to take this. If I
Yeah.
have to pivot, if I'm having difficulty finding a job, every so often you have to take a job you don't want, but you try to find something of value there. And when that happens, you're finding an employer that you want to be at, and you know that there's upward mobility. So it's like, okay, so this year I have to do this, but this
But
is the path that I want to go to because
yeah.
maybe you've reached your ceiling. Sometimes, like with some of the Cisco roles, I think you reach certain ceilings
True.
unless you like Cisco has a CCIE, and
Mm.
it's a crazy process to become CCIE. And if
Yeah.
you're not going to become a CCIE,
Hmm.
there are tons of people who will do CCNA work and CCNP work,
Hmm.
and so you're
And also
at a
that's
certain
true
point
for
you hit a ceiling.
yeah. Yeah, sorry to cut you off, but I think that's also true for any other role. It could be not just specific to a Cisco role, but any role, I would say, kind of saturates after a point, and then you might have to take a hit if, let's say, your long-term career goal is to do this, right? Yeah, yeah,
I mean, sometimes it happens. You're
yeah.
like, okay, maybe you get something else in the process, like
Mm.
oh, I get to max telework, I get to work from home, or I
Mm.
have job flexibility,
Mm.
or it's just, I want to do it as opposed to time to make the donuts that Dunkin' Donuts ad. You can look it up on YouTube. He looks like he's death warmed over. He really doesn't care about making those donuts.
Mm.
And if it's what you want to do, then you'll do it.
Mm.
And maybe, and sometimes you take a slight hit, but it's worth it long term.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, and these numbers will change based on who the employer is.
Yes. Yeah.
I find a lot of community services, community like regional banks, they'll try to bring these numbers down, and a lot of healthcare, they'll try to squeeze the numbers down. And sometimes it's just that organization, and so these numbers, they definitely, the sky is the limit, and
Mm.
we're not quoting millions of dollars, millions of
Yeah.
jobs. There are
Yeah,
tons
yeah,
of
of
jobs,
course.
and
Of
it's
course.
not going away.
Yeah, yeah, of course, right. So someone had a question whether this is the hierarchy really. Someone pursues a CompTIA, then a CISA, then a CISSP. I know the answer is no, but I'll let you elaborate that.
Well, I think you don't have to take the Security Plus first.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Security Plus, it's a nice stepping stone. It is, as someone who got their CISs, got their Security Plus, there was no experience required. I was able to get a certification, and it kind of made me feel good about myself. And
Mhm.
so that was one of the things I did. And like even when I got my PMP years ago, Project Management Professional, I
Wow.
took the CompTIA Project Plus as my on ramp. It was sort of like, let me take the CompTIA exam. It's less expensive, at the time, whatever, maybe it was like $300 as opposed to, $500. It's like, let me see if I could pass the CompTIA project exam. If I pass that, now I know I'm on my way, and I'll take the PMP, shortly thereafter. So it's like I set my progression in place, and it gave me something to put up on my wall, so to speak. The certificate that goes up on your wall,
Yeah.
and you can feel good about yourself that you've learned. You've achieved something there. Uh,
Right.
as far as, do you have to become an auditor? No, you don't have to.
To
I
CompTIA.
but I did. I was looking at the employer I was at the time. I knew I wanted to be a CISSP, but I also thought there would be opportunities as a CISA.
Right.
And I didn't. And I was like trying to figure out why my auditor was, giving me a lot of grief. And I was like, well, you know what? If I become a CISA, then I'll know what he knows and I'll learn,
Mhm. Mhm.
what is he looking for? And
Mhm.
because I wanted to know what his job entailed. And so I
Mhm.
became my CISA.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Right. So let's proceed and let's understand the demand of these certifications. I think you've already highlighted that a lot of times, through the various slides that we covered. But if you could just give us a picture, or because you are in the industry, you've been in the industry for so long, and I'm sure you've also done some hiring, you've also seen a lot of companies hiring. So how do you think the demand is growing for these certifications?
And the certification makes you stand out with any employer.
Hmm.
Uh, I can't think of any employer or if an employer ever says, I don't want you because you have a certification, what they're also not saying is, I don't want to pay a high salary. And then you ask yourself, do you want to be there? So, like, oh, I don't want to hire a CISSP. That means you don't want, like, you're shopping for people based on a budget number, which it's probably not where you want to be long term in a career. Like,
Mhm.
you'd be like, okay, I'll take this job, I'll get some experience, but you're probably not going to stay long term. Yeah, the CISSP, if it's not the CISA and the Security Plus, these show up in virtually all job descriptions. Um, and like if I had a CISSP and I was applying for a service desk role, security operations center, SOC analyst, no, they're not going to hire me for that role, right? So you do want to make sure that um, you don't take the CISSP before it's time. You want to have some experience that you can document, because otherwise, now they're sitting there. Oh, you have a CISSP, but you have zero experience. And the only time that works I found is with the consulting companies, because in a consulting company you've got levels of management. So you can have that someone they're the associate of ISC two, they have the knowledge of a CISSP, and they are closely being watched by somebody who does have a CISSP. It's almost like the old days of being like like the trades, like carpentry, HVAC is auto repair. You would have someone who's like ASE certified for auto repair, and then you would have someone over here that just does oil changes and tune-ups. And stop me because I'll start quoting my cousin Vinny.
Got it. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, these job postings, if you don't have experience, if your experience is light, you're going to see Security Plus throughout
Yeah.
those job postings that are meant for you. And the employers are hiring. It is a differentiator, 100%. And and I'm seeing some employers will say college degree, or they'll say certification. When you look at an employer, if the employer absolutely requires a degree, and well, okay, they're not the employer for you, right? Find another employer. There's lots of
And
employers out
yeah. Yeah,
there, and you
absolutely.
can definitely get a great job.
Yes.
I know someone who has a CISSP, and they only have an associate's degree.
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, great.
Right.
It works, right? The
Yeah.
certification is what is helping them. And that is
Correct.
that otherwise you just have an associate's degree.
Yeah.
You have 20 years of experience, but no degree. The
Got it.
CISSP definitely is what help is getting them that job.
Right.
Got them that job.
Absolutely. So finally, the question that a lot of learners have about, their background, whether some of them are from non-tech, some of them have pursued a bachelor's in computer science. Some of them want to know, what if I don't know coding? So, these are some questions that we received on the Q&A box. So what factors should one really consider while choosing the right certification? Does this flowchart make sense? Firstly, maybe you can take them through how they can make a decision.
Right, absolutely.
Hmm.
Do you have to know coding? I would say for a lot of cybersecurity roles, you don't start out needing to know coding at all. Especially the CISSP and the CISA and the Security Plus, you do not need to know coding at all. And once you're in a role, you will probably learn whatever coding is part of the solutions that that particular organization has purchased, their rule sets and things of that sort. If you're in a hands-on role, you may pick up Perl or Python, but you can pick that up easily on the side. So that's why you don't need to see it in the CISSP or the CISA. They don't need you to know coding because you can pick up those Perl and Ruby or Python, whatever, PowerShell. You can pick that up on the side. So are you new to cybersecurity? If you are, then Security Plus is the way to get into cybersecurity. And people say, well, I have a degree. Will the CompTIA Security Plus help? Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's intended for those people who don't have experience. If you're not new, you have experience in cybersecurity already. That's that question. Do you want to focus on auditing and compliance? Do you want to be evaluating the systems, or do you want to be building those systems?
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to focus on auditing, of course, that's your CISA, your certified the CISA from ISACA.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't want to be focusing on auditing, then you look toward, then you ask yourself, do you have your 5 years of experience, or 4 with a degree? Then yes, go ahead and get your CISSP. If you don't have the 5 years of experience, maybe you do the Security Plus as your stepping stone, or you do your CISA, because everything you learn, what's beautiful about these is everything you learn in the Security Plus and the CISA and the CISSP, they really overlap. There's sort of the Venn diagram, so to speak. What you learn overlaps because they're all complementary to each other.
Right.
We mentioned the certified ethical hacker.
Yeah.
And that's that. If you're new to cybersecurity, you'll look at the Security Plus. And after the Security, usually I recommend the Security Plus as a stepping stone. You can go directly to CEH. Sometimes that's a higher curve, and sometimes you want something, you're like, I want to do this in 3 months.
Right.
And the Security Plus fits that bill 100%. You could sit down, you can make a plan and say, in 3 months, I'm going to be Security Plus. It is totally doable. It is totally easy to take those exams. And someone had mentioned, there's someone I saw pass by, OSCP, I believe it was, which is the offensive security certified penetration tester. The OSCP, I don't recall seeing it hit the DoD 8570 chart or the DoD 8140 chart or table. I don't remember seeing the OSCP hit that. So whenever you're looking at another certification, that would be one of those resources to go look at. It was DoD 8570.01. And look to see if the job posting's out there, on that table, and also look at the roles and see if OSCP is mentioned.
Right.
I don't see the OSCP as much. And again, CEH and OSCP are they're getting into that specialization of that ethical hacking. So, it's not everyone wants to specialize in that forever. Sometimes you want to specialize that for a while and then hop over to the CISSP.
Got it. So just to summarize, what we said here. So if someone is entirely new to cybersecurity, CompTIA is a great start. Someone can also do a CEH, you said. But let's say someone wants to focus on IT auditing. Someone is interested there, then a CISA is a great start. But someone does not want to do this, then, and they have 5 years, then, CISSP is the way to go. So I think this flowchart should help all of you learners gain some clarity. A lot of you are still posting questions on where you can start, right? So your answer is this, but this is not compulsory or mandatory for you to start off if you want to, do a certification. So you can still do a CISA or even a CISSP, but you will need to complete your 5 years to, eventually get certification. Right. So what should one's learning pathways be, Bill? How should one go about learning for or preparing for these exams? Someone had a question, should I just take like a mini free course sort of a thing and then, take up a whole big certification program, or what should one do?
Well, I will say you need to be careful. So I think you said mini free.
Yeah, someone said a mini course sort of thing. I'm not sure if it was free. Question was on the
I,
chat. Let me take a look at it.
I'll
Um,
just sort of, I've seen some and they'll say, oh, like Google has a cybersecurity certificate.
yeah.
Okay, that doesn't hurt, right? And ISC2, they have their cybersecurity certified in cybersecurity. Yeah, it doesn't hurt. It's very low cost. And if you have no certifications, you basically get it for it's like for free for the first year and then $50 every year thereafter. That's not going to hurt you. I was going to say if someone said, and it's you when you join cybersecurity communities and networking groups, you need to become a good a good consumer of these. Because some are good and some are not so good. Is I guess the best way I can put it. I occasionally I will listen to somebody in a Discord or a cybersecurity group, and I'll cringe because they're saying things wrong. But I'm sitting there just listening in as an attendee, and I don't have authority to say anything, so I just sit back and well, this is the difference, right? This is why we have established programs. Taking up a program. One of the advantages, the last bullet point, we say, take up a certification training program. Well, because it will be a curriculum specifically to get you there on a certain time frame.
Yeah.
If you're just like looking on LinkedIn, looking on Discord, you can learn a lot, but the quality control may or may not be there. And that's sort of my caveat. Yes, definitely join your cybersecurity communities. I am involved in cybersecurity communities. I am involved with multiple ISACA chapters. I'm involved with B sides. It's the letter B followed by the word sides. And it's sort of an offshoot of DEF CON, the annual summer hacker camp. And no, I go, you will see me. I will hit places, I'm on the East Coast of the United States. So you see me hit a bunch of the ones on the East Coast. And I make the pilgrimage out to Vegas every year. I get involved in those groups. Research the job descriptions and the industry requirements. Look at the job titles, look at the responsibilities that sound like things you want to do. And then what certifications are they asking for? What are the task statements that you need to develop your skills in? But the third bullet point, of course, is the biggest one.
Yeah.
Set a goal, right? Set a timeline. Because if you don't set a timeline, it will never happen. Something else will come. I know someone who has been trying to get a certification now for 5 years. And I just, okay, when are you going to do it? Got to set a deadline. Got to set a deadline. Got to get it done, because otherwise, gee, my car broke down. Oh, gee, the front door needs to be replaced, or something else. You got to set a goal and a timeline.
I think the key is plan when you want to complete your certificate, and just, back calculate, reverse engineer when you should start training for that program and do everything else that prepares you for the exam. I think that's what Bill mentioned. But yeah, I mean, anything can keep coming up, but the most important thing is to have a plan, have a goal in mind, and then work towards the goal. Right, right. So great. So I hope with this, all of you have some clarity. Yeah, someone actually agrees with you. With I'm that person. It's almost 3 years now. Yes.
Oh, there you
So I
go.
hope.
You got it on.
No, I think, I hope this, yes. Okay, it's okay, guys. It's okay. You don't have to beat yourself up for this. But now you know what to do, right? The important thing is to set a goal. So just a quick yes if you've got clarity on what you should do next. Just a quick yes on the chat would help. And maybe what you really choose, with the options that we gave you, with a quick flow chart that we gave you. What certification would you pursue next? Yeah, yeah. Okay, amazing. That's great. That's great. Okay, you pursue CISA next, Sylvia says. All right, CISA. Okay, okay. You don't have any direction, Maurice. I hope you do find direction through this webinar. Okay, CompTIA, CISA. Right, right. Good, 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 good. Nice. So now that you know what certification you want to pursue, of course, in detail, we will talk about the CISSP course, what it offers, and we'll also touch upon the CISA and the CompTIA Plus. We'll take you through the enrollment steps for all the three courses, right? And then you can select a yes or a no, and then we'll pass on the interest to you. But before that, what we would like to know is what's that one thing that you need to prepare for the certification exam, right? So let me know here on this poll that I'm launching. What's the one thing that you need to pursue? A job, in this case, a certification, not exactly a job here, but certification. We're talking about certifications here. So what do you really need? People on YouTube, also please select the right option. Great, great. Glad that you have clarity now. All of you given me responses on the chat. Great. Yes, that's the spirit. Uh, Bilij, if that's your name, is motivating the others on the chat. Let's do better this year. We're getting those certificates before the end of the year. That's a good resolution to have. Right. That's nice. That's nice. All right. Although we do have the CISSP covered in detail, but what we're going to do is, because a lot of you are interested in the CISA and the CompTIA Plus, we'll talk about these two certifications in detail, starting with the CISA, right? So we'll take you through how our course is designed, what our course entails, what the course schedules are, and then we talk about the CompTIA course. Yeah. So while you guys give us those poll responses, here we go. Let me just highlight a bit on what the CISA certification training course offers. So this curriculum that we offer is based on the exam pattern of 2024. You get an official learning kit, a review manual, an exam voucher also is included. By the way, this is also included in the CISSP certification training. And you get live classes. Some of you have that concern as well. You do want to learn with the help of live classes. You don't want recorded lessons, correct? And some of you said you would need practice. So the simulation test with the exam questions will help you understand that, correct? So by now you know why a CISA is required. So you definitely know why you want to pursue this. But just a quick overview of what the certification training course covers is just this. Let me just head straight to the curriculum. Bill, I know it covers the various domains of CISA. Maybe if you could just highlight how these lessons are structured, what they offer.
All right. So to become an auditor, you have to put yourself in the mind of an auditor.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and it's, did they do what, do they have policies in place? Do they have procedures in place? Do they make sense? then did they do what they said they were going to do? And so that's auditing in a nutshell. Is the organization learning from what they do? So, what is the audit process? The auditor, auditee, talking about that relationship. Then, how is IT managed? And when you approach an exam like the CISSP, any ISC2 exam or ISACA exam, they're based on best practices. And so whenever we teach those classes, it's this is the best practice. And so this is the way it should be done according to a whole group of people around the world across multiple industries. And so, when going through either of those programs, you're making sure that you're approaching things the best practice way. And then, I call it the SDLC, the system acquisition, development, and implementation. That's the bringing a new system on board. These other elements here, here in this curriculum, this curriculum breaks down the protection of information assets into 3 separate lessons. The textbook from ISACA crams it into this huge chapter. The 2024 objectives, they just mushroomed this chapter. It just increased, but it's all about it's a high level. So it's like this is what routers and switches and firewalls and detection systems and authentication and authorization. Here are what these systems are all capable of. And these are the things that you would want to make sure that your systems, if you're auditing them, you would be asking them, interviewing them. Do you have this? Do you have this? Do you have this? Do you have a document do you have some sort of a artifact from that that you've been monitoring it type of. So what is the auditing process? How are they bringing new systems on board? How are they developing the systems? And have they, the organization, is it just being run appropriately? And with the CISA, you don't have to. One of the questions was, do I have to take the Security Plus? You don't have to. It just helps. It will help. Taking the Security Plus will help, but you could go right to CISA. The downside of, and I think I sort of chatted here, is that for the CISA, you have to have the years of experience before you can officially, I like to say, before I can put it on my wall. Or, I can't call myself a CISA until I have the required years of experience.
Yeah. And I think the same stands for the CISSP as well. Yeah. Yeah.
Although the CISSP, you can call yourself an associate. So they give you a little.
Yeah. You mentioned
ISC2, they give you that you could be an associate of ISC2.
Understood. Right. So these are the steps that you follow. Basically, you just apply for the CISA examination. You make sure you are also adhering to the Code of Professional Ethics. What exactly is the Code of Professional Ethics? And I'm sure this holds true for the other certifications in some form as well. What does this exactly mean?
So Code of Ethics, the fact that, and I can't recite the ISC2 calls it the canons, I believe, what you're going to do, but basically you will provide honest service to the principals, I think is the word they call it. But basically, if you're going to do something, you are properly skilled to do it. And that you are going to do it faithfully. And as far as with the certifications, you sign on to a Code of Professional Ethics. And believe it or not, I'm not going to give you the answers to the exam. That's a fundamental thing. I'm not going to give you the exact answers from the exam. First off, I don't have them. And second, if I did, that would be a violation of the Code of Ethics, because it would mean that the certification didn't mean anything.
Yeah.
You have to learn the material before you can call yourself any of these.
Right. Got it. So someone had a question on the course fee. So here's the course fee. This is including the 30% discount, and this is for India. But let's say someone is living in the US, you would like to understand what the course fee is. You can check this out here. Again, the course fee is $1,950 with a 35% off. So your next cohort starts on the 7th of June. It was the same for the Indian cohort as well. right? So let's quickly understand what the CompTIA Security Plus course offers. We'll take you through that in a bit, and then we'll also cover CISSP briefly. And then we'll just wrap up in the next 5-10 minutes. I know we've extended over time, but yeah, we've got a lot of questions, and then we also were able to address that as well. So yeah, just another 5-10 minutes, guys. Yes. So basically, with the CompTIA Security Plus course, you also, again, like I mentioned, you get the exam voucher. And in this course as well, you get a simulation test at the end of the training to make sure you're ready for the exam, you're confident enough to take the actual test, right? So you also have integrated labs to give you the practical exposure that some of you mentioned you don't have, right? So here you should be able to pass in all the 5 domains of CompTIA Plus, right? So someone had a question about the score. I think you already answered that, but does someone need to score a 70% and above in all domains, or in just one domain would do?
Ooh. Okay, so whenever they do the per domain, it's all domains.
Right.
I would want to check CompTIA's website because
Let me also check that.
it used to be that I just had to pass the exam. That was one of the things that made ISACA and ISC2 exams more challenging. So the CompTIA Security Plus exam passing.
Exam details. Let me see.
Does not. It's just 90 questions. This does not say anything about per domain.
Yeah, it does not say anything about per domain. No.
I think it's, so you can have a weak domain
Yeah.
for Security Plus based on what I'm seeing here.
Yes. Yeah. With just a 90% passing score is 750 on a scale of 100 to 900. That's what the question is. Right. Okay. Someone says it requires 83%. Yeah. 750 is the passing score. Thanks so much, Aditya, for clarifying that. Great. So you will learn all the 5 domains of the Security Plus certification as a part of this course. And let me again quickly take you through the course fee, although it's, sorry, one sec. Yeah, although it's pretty similar to what we had the last time. The course fee here is $1,200, and your next cohort starts in April. Okay, now I'm just going to head straight to the CISSP course as well and take you through what this course covers. So with the CISSP course 2, the course is based on the exam pattern, the latest exam pattern. You also get an exam voucher. Along with that, you get interactive live sessions from certified instructors. And then you also get a simulation test, 5 sample papers with 150 questions each to just help you prepare for the exam better. Yes, so you know what we'll be covering. We've already covered the various domains as a part of what we did in the session today. So you'll be learning about all these 8 domains. So I'm not sure of the passing score. Someone has that question, right? Okay, right. So again, the course cohort for CISSP starts in April. 8th of April is the start date, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share my screen and give you the QR code to the CISSP course. That's what we planned. But let's say you'd want to head from here, from the CISSP course to another course as well. You can actually do that. So let's say you are interested in taking up any of these courses. Yeah, just quickly let us know a yes in the poll that I'm about to launch. So the poll says, would you like to enroll in the program? But it can be any of these programs that we discussed about today, including the CEH V13. If you are interested, just quickly click say yes. And if you are in the US, you can expect a call from the learning advisor in the next few hours. But let's say you live in India and the rest of the world, you should be getting a call tomorrow morning if you select a yes. Okay. Now I'm also going to launch a follow-up poll after this, asking you which other course would you be interested in apart from the CISSP. So also let us know your preferences there. But let's say you do select a yes, it means that you're interested in any of these courses and someone would call you. Yeah. Right. So whatever questions you have about the course fee, about discounts, how long the discounts are valid for, when you can start your cohort, what happens when you miss a class, all of these questions your learning advisor will be able to answer. And on the course page, if you scan the course QR code, you should be able to see the cohort. So when you click on view schedules, you should be able to see the entire course calendar and when the live sessions actually happen. Okay, right? So with this, let me also head to some pending questions that we had. Oh, Bill, I see you've already answered most of them. Let me check the chat box.
I think I see the last question that came in. Is it required to have prerequisites in cybersecurity for any of these courses? Security
Yes.
Plus is not going to require prerequisites as long as you're comfortable with a keyboard and a mouse, pretty much.
Hmm.
And the CISA and the CISSP, if you have experience in technology, you don't you don't have to have prerequisites. And then it becomes a personal choice. You know, if you want to get that you want to get that satisfaction of being able to have a certification right up front.
Yes.
The Security Plus is it's a very easy stepping stone into the CISA and the CISSP,
Right.
but they're not required. And yeah, so like prerequisites, you know, what happens when I teach the CISA classes, we'll need to pay a little bit more time. You know, it's going to be a little bit, you know, that incline's going to be a little bit steeper. I'm not
Right.
going to say it's not impossible. You know, when we get to domains 4 and 5 of the CISA, it's going to be a steeper incline for those folks that don't have prerequisites.
Hmm.
But it is still doable. And that's the great thing. Of course, if you take the classes, you're taking them, you attend the live class, you ask all sorts of questions of your instructor,
Yeah.
and then you also listen to the recordings, and then you do like any practice labs that are available in the class, you know, and you work with those, and so you don't have to take a prerequisite.
Hmm.
You just maybe have a little bit extra work.
Yeah.
Um, you know, but it is all doable.
Yes, absolutely. It is. So what I was mentioning is this. So all of these courses are, the CISSP course is just a month long. This is what I was mentioning to you. So when you click on the class calendar, you get to know when these classes happen, right? And of course, you can check these for the, India as well, for India and the rest of the world as well. You can do that by selecting, I mean, when you open the course page, you should be able to do that. Yeah. So if, let's say, you are interested and you really want to pursue the certification, you should be considering our training. Another thing, I'm just going back to what Bill said a while back. So putting a timeline to when you want to achieve the certification is important. And certainly this training will help you reach there faster. It's just more organized. It just helps you cover all the bases, in a more structured and organized way rather than you looking for resources to study, right? So that is why you should definitely consider these courses, any of these courses that you're interested in, and you can select a yes if you're still interested, okay? Now, what happens is that, let's say you start the cohort and you would want to take the next one. You don't want to be a part of the upcoming cohort right away. You can still use the flexi pass and reschedule your cohort in the first 90 days from your actual date of the cohort. So for example, you're not ready to start on the 8th of April, you can use this flexi pass and reschedule it to 90 days from 8th of April. Okay, so that's available in all of the 3 certifications that you see. Even though you've got other plans, I mean, I suggest against that. You should be completing, as soon as you enroll, you should be completing the training. But let's say you've got other plans, you can still use FlexiPass. Okay, okay, great. So Bill, I think, great. Thanks so much for answering those questions. It was great hosting you, Bill. We're coming to the end of the session. Let me just check on the poll responses for the interest. We've got about 50 people who've responded to our poll, which is great. Thank you so much for your responses. I'm just going to be closing the poll in the next few seconds. If you're still interested, please make sure you choose a yes. And then we'll come to letting you choose which course you're interested in. But I'll just keep it really quick because we have to end the session as well. Can't see the poll? Not a problem. Let me launch it once again. And let me know which course you would be interested in. Yeah. What other course apart from CISSP would you be interested in? If you are watching us on YouTube, please head to the video description and the link there would help you reach the course page. Okay, Bill, we have a question from someone on YouTube. Henry has a question. What if someone is pursuing an MBA? What should they do?
Well, okay. Well, if you've already started your MBA, you may as well finish it. I guess that's the first thing, because you said pursuing.
Yeah, pursuing.
I attained an MBA and I attained an MBA in technology management. Uh, and it was helpful in the CISSP studies, but I still needed to know more.
Mhm.
And I think that gets to with tech, the technology management program was about getting technology implemented. And one of the challenges with cybersecurity is that cybersecurity is a set of guardrails
Mm.
so that not only does it get deployed, but it gets deployed in a cost-effective, value-driven, safe, uh, risk appropriate manner.
Mm.
And so that's where the CISSP really adds to the MBA. If you're looking at you're earning your MBA, your MBA is on financial,
Mm.
and there is a piece of risk analysis in financial studies,
Yeah,
but the CISSP is going to drive home that here are the technology risks, which the MBA is not necessarily driven to do.
yes, absolutely. Great. I think it was a great session, Bill. Thank you so much for coming and accepting to speak to our learners. It was great hosting you. Quick last thoughts do you have before we close? I'm just also going to close the poll here. Yeah. Any last thoughts before we go?
I saw a lot of great conversation today. I love it. This is the cybersecurity community is all about, communication, getting together with others. And, if you are, cybersecurity is definitely a wonderful career.
Yeah,
And, it's, it's definitely, it's treated me very well. You will not get bored, or if you think you got bored, you can go find something else in cybersecurity to pique your interest. So, just
absolutely.
if you're thinking about it, make a plan. That's that point, because if you don't do it, it never happens. If you don't make a plan, it never happens.
That's true. And the plan should align to what your career goal is. So whatever your career goal is, make sure you make a plan around it, make sure you upskill and also achieve that goal. That's the most important thing. Great. So let us know how you liked the session. There are going to be a lot of polls today, like I said in the beginning of the session. So let us know how you like the session and where you would like us to do better. Yeah, okay. Bill, is that, yeah, so it's Bill. That's what we call him. But anyway.
What do you call me?
But it was great that you could answer all their questions. I'm sure the learners have a lot to take away today. Let us also know what you would like to see next in the next webinar. Let's say we have it with Bill again in April. What you would like us to cover? Would it be CEH around ethical hacking? Just making a guess, but let us know. I do have a
Uh,
plan, but yeah, let's see.
Recommending a cybersecurity community to join. Um, I think some of you are on YouTube already. And I recommend B-sides, the letter B followed by the word sides.
Mhm.
There are B-sides events around the world, and they're typically once a year. And then what happens is that becomes sort of, you start growing your network from there. It's like, where
Right.
do I go? I don't know. The other, if you're pursuing your CISA, then you would join your local ISACA chapter, because your local, when you take the exam, I think it's like $600 to $700 for members. I don't even know what it is for non-members, because every time I looked at the numbers, it was actually, you may as well just join a chapter, even just for that year. It's
Correct.
like, just join your chapter for that year, even take your exam,
Right.
because you're going to save your money on that exam fee.
True.
And so there you have your auditing community right there built in.
Hmm.
Your local ISACA chapter. Those of you who are looking at CISA. With the CISSP, ISC2 has some chapters. They're kind of hit or miss as far as how active they are. So, it's ISACA chapters are going to be very active. You're going to have something going on multiple times a year.
Mhm.
ISC2, their chapters are relatively new. There's another organization. It's a ISSA, and I'm going to forget the acronym right now, issa.org. There are chapters in many parts of the world. And that's one that is information security. So that's another community that you could look at as well.
Wow,
And
great. I
then
think
once
that,
you find one you like, you'll just sort of gravitate down your own paths.
yeah, great. Thanks. Thanks so much, Bill, for answering that as well. Let me quickly end this poll as well. Thank you so much, everyone, for giving us a 4 and a 5. It was great, hosting you as well. And I'm definitely going to read those responses that you've given us on what we can do better. Now, I'm just going to launch the certificate poll. Please make sure you submit your names properly the way you would want them to be on your certificate, so that you can share it on LinkedIn and also tag Bill on LinkedIn. Let me just quickly pull up his profile so that you can also reach out to him there. Yeah. Can I do that, Bill? Can I give your
Yep, sure.
LinkedIn profile? Yeah.
I know people find me all the time. Although I do usually say, if you're going to send me a LinkedIn message, let me know why. Because otherwise, like,
Why?
who is this person?
Yes, 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 yes. Let him know that you attended this webinar and reach out to him there as well. Great. Thanks so much once again, Bill. Like I said, it's always wonderful listening to you, listening to your anecdotes about your experience, about you giving different examples on why or what a certain person, a certain learner should do. It's always great to listen to your advice. Anything else that you would like to share, Bill, before we go today?
I can't think of anything else other than, I guess maybe we'll see you next month.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But we haven't got responses on what we should cover, but I'm definitely thinking ethical hacking, something around ethical hacking. I'm sure a lot of learners would be nodding their heads in agreement. Yes, yes, yes. We want Bill again, and we want to be listening to him about CEH. Anyway, anyway, great. Thank you so much, learners, for the enthusiasm that you've shown. People in India, it's pretty late. It's great that you guys are still active, asking questions, getting your doubts answered. Thank you so much, Bill. Thank you so much, all the learners. We'll see you again. Bye bye. Have a great day ahead.